All right, joining us now are John Challenger, the CEO of Challenger Gray and Christmas, who's in Chicago, and Mark Zandi, chief economist and co-founder of Moody's Economy.com. He comes to us from Washington. Let's talk a little bit about the problem here. I mean, it looks like we've gone through, and Mark, today in your testimony in front of Congress, you pointed out we've gone through all of the proper stages of the recovery cycle here, but we haven't added jobs. Why is it that we're not starting to add jobs back? Is this just typical of this kind of business cycle?
Well, increasingly, it's less typical. I think at this point, we'd start to see some hiring. We haven't seen it. So with each passing month, it becomes more and more atypical. Why? I think it's a confluence of things. One is confidence. Businesses had near-death experiences, and you don't get over that quickly. Credit, particularly for small businesses, they still suffer from a credit crunch, and if they don't have credit, they can't hire. And it may also be the cost of labor. We raised the minimum wage in the summer. That might have been bad timing. And, of course, our workers are competing against low-cost labor overseas, and that's a tough competition.
Let me ask you, John, you know, Pim Fox has been talking to CEOs on his show, Taking Stock. For 6 months, they've been telling him, you know what? We cut workers, and then we realized we were producing just as much, or in some cases even more, without these workers, and decided we don't ever need to add them back.
Well, that's probably going a little far. They're going to have to add them back at some point as their businesses continue to grow. But they also have a lot of workers right now that they can use on a part-time basis. That allows them, as their businesses recover, to give more hours to those people, but not create the jobs that would begin to push unemployment down.
Hey, Mark, you track this very closely. I mean, we're still seeing losses, but it's certainly not as severe as it was just a few months ago. So the less bad, whether or not that's good, it's not good for those people who are still losing jobs. But safe to say that things are getting better when it comes to the labor market.
Yes, absolutely. Go back to the first quarter of this year. We were losing 700,000 jobs on average every month. In the third quarter, we were down to 175,000 on average per month. I think next month we have a jobs report on Friday. I think we'll lose 125,000. So, and some of the leading indicators are looking a little bit better. Temp jobs are up. So things are moving in the right direction. But we need to have them move more quickly in the right direction. Otherwise, things could come unraveled.
And John, you track hiring plans when you guys do your data. I mean, what are you seeing? What are companies saying?
Well, there are companies that are hiring. Remember, this is an economy that's very dynamic. A lot of times people think that when you have this period of time like we're in right now, where there's not a lot of people leaving and there's not a lot of job creation, kind of really laying low, that there's not a lot of dynamism going on. And yet the latest report we have from the BLS says 4 million people took jobs in that month. It's just that we lost 4.3 million during that month. So there's still a lot of activity. We know healthcare is a strong sector, education, energy. The global economy is going to help U.S. businesses create jobs. So things are certainly on the mend. They're just not going as quickly as people would hope for. And yet we know the last two recessions we've had jobless recoveries where unemployment stayed high basically from 12 to 18 months' time.
And we know it's not going as quickly as the Obama administration would like. They've got this job summit coming up. You know, Mark, what is it that they need to do differently to really help out the labor market here?
Well, I think there's some things they could do quickly. They could empower the Small Business Administration to extend out more credit to small businesses, going back to that credit problem that I mentioned. I think there's also a lack of confidence. You know, businesses aren't going to hire somebody unless they feel like if they hire them, that whatever they produce, they're going to be able to sell. So we need to support demand. So helping state and local governments, helping unemployed workers, all makes some sense. And going to the cost of labor, there's an idea to have a jobs tax credit for businesses that expand their payrolls. I think under some circumstances that would be a pretty good idea as well.